Hi there, I'm Mabel Chan, and this is One in a Billion. Fall series, This Chinese Life, live streaming for a living.
China has become a class society, and this film, People's Republic Desire, really focus on the extreme wealthy and the extreme poor.
That's Chinese-American filmmaker Hao Wu, director of the documentary The People's Republic of Desire.
Without anyone noticing, it seems that live streaming has become the hottest online trend in China.
一台电脑、一个摄像头、一副耳机麦克风，就可以在家里进行网络直播。
一个网红一个月可以挣10几万、几十万，甚至是上百万。
His camera followed the lives of two celebrity live streamers, a woman and a man, both in their 20s, over the course of 2 years. They competed to win votes that would determine their net worth, their popularity, and desirability. In part one of our conversation, we talked about live streaming in China, a $5 billion business and a national obsession for China's 800 million internet users. It's also a story about money, fame, and the human longing for love, connection, and belonging. In this episode today, The People's Republic of Desire. My team and I have watched The People's Republic of Desire at different times in different cities. So I'm in Boston, one in New York, another in Virginia. My team members are 20-something, 30-something from different parts of China. We all feel rather sad at the end. So I guess my first question for you, Hao, is explain the title of the movie and tell us what is it that you want to capture.
So back in 2014, when I first started researching live streaming in China, back then it was still a very niche internet phenomena before live streaming really exploded in China, became a mainstream cultural event or cultural phenomena. Back then, I was just initially very intrigued by this ecosystem because there are so many rich people and poor people getting together online and worshiping the same live streaming celebrities or stars. That was my initial interest. But the longer I did filming, followed my characters around, the more I realized that in China, internet phenomena, internet technology or products in general basically satisfy the desires that we cannot satisfy in real life. So that's why people go online trying to find some connection, trying to find that recognition to get famous or make money. So that's why this film gradually evolved from a simple documentary about special internet culture in China into this examination of what young people are looking to find on the internet. And also what they're looking to find are so diverse. So that's why I titled the film People's Republic of Desire, because just like human desires are very diverse.
I am just fascinated by how you even found these characters. So how did you find them? How did you cast such perfect characters? I'm referring to Big Li and Shen Man, in particular, the hostess and the host who were sort of highlighted and profiled, right? How did you approach them?
It's actually really hard to get in touch with internet celebrities anywhere. If you simply email them or try to send them a message on social media, because they get so many messages, right?
Exactly. So they're wondering, are you a fan or are you a patron? Right?
Yeah, become a patron, pay your way in. I think I was just really lucky because before I started doing filmmaking full-time, I worked for many years in the tech industry in general management, in product management. First, I started my tech career in Silicon Valley, and then I moved back to China. I worked for companies like Yahoo China, Alibaba, and TripAdvisor in China. Mm-hmm. So when I decided to really research live streaming, I asked around for friends, just for any referrals that can get me in the door of the companies. Back in 2014, there were 2 live streaming companies that were big enough that were listed in the stock market, one on NASDAQ, one on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So through friends and friends of friends, I was introduced to the founder of YY.com, the leading live streaming platform in China. And then he was actually receptive to the idea of me just coming in and do a documentary because, the founder and the marketing team didn't realize how long independent documentary film would take. They kind of reintroduced me to the live streamers. And for a long time, the live streamer had a mistaken notion that I was working for YY, for the live streaming platform, doing our corporate promotional video.
I see.
But anyway, so it took me a while to explain to them what I was doing, how long it would take, the number of years an independent documentary film would normally take. But that's how I got introduced to them. And the company actually tried to push me towards following, quote unquote, more wholesome live streamers the company would like to promote. But for me as a filmmaker, I was always looking for that striking character, that engaging screen presence that can draw audience in.
Yes.
So after talking to over a dozen live streamers, I decided to focus on Shenman and Big Lee.
Shenman and Big Lee, what do you think that they wanted to convey that you want to capture? They were so open, so candid. They were pouring out their emotions, unguarded. It's not easy.
Maybe that's because I have hundreds of hours of footage. I cut it down. I grab the moments when they were most open. I show them on screen. It's not like every day we have that type of very deep or very open discussion, because for these live streamers, similar to internet celebrities in the States or in any country, and their life revolves around the computer or their phones. Sometimes, actually a lot of times, they're not very talkative in real life. All their human interactions gravitate towards maintaining their relationship with their fans, with their patrons on the internet.
Big Lee and Shenman, your main protagonists, they are live streaming host and hostess, and they're competing for votes, right? And then they make a lot of money. $40,000 a month, for example? Who pays? How does that work? Can you explain that?
In the U.S., the top internet celebrity make, several hundreds of thousands of dollars a month as well. In the West, usually all these internet celebrities, how they make money is through sponsorships, through advertising deals. But in China, advertising dollars are not as much. So they invented this digital tipping model. That's really new for Chinese internet, where they allow anybody to watch a live streaming show for free. But if you want to show your appreciation, or if you want to get the live streamer's attention or be able to chat with him or her, you can give them a tip. The way to tip them is that you can use real money to buy digital gifts from the platform, like digital lollipops, digital teddy bears, or digital diamond rings. And then you can then gift these digital gifts to the live streamers. And the platform takes a cut. The live streamer gets whatever is left after the live streaming platform, and their agencies take their cuts.
So on YY, for example, which is your focus in this film, what kind of gifts and tips or cash, I guess, because tips is really money, right? So how does that work?
Oh, there are different tiers of gifts. The cheapest ones, like a digital lollipop or digital applause,
right,
or a digital kiss. Those are very cheap,
right?
It's almost like a cent a piece. But usually the way you give those lollipops, you don't just give one. You give, tens or hundreds or thousand digital lollipops at a time. So that costs a few dollars.
I see.
And then there are more expensive tiers like beer. You can give a digital beer. And then the next tier could be cotton candy or digital heart, I love you
I
signs.
see.
And the top ones are the digital lipsticks and digital diamond rings.
Right, so each gift, it costs money, and so that's how the cash goes into YY, and YY gets a cut, and then the fans just keep paying, and the patrons keep paying.
That's right.
So basically, the boss for these two main characters is YY, right? So they get the money each month directly from YY, is that right?
No, each one has an agency boss. So like in real world show business, all the live streaming talents on YY has to sign with a talent agency.
Right.
So the way the money flows is that, a fan or patron spends money to buy the digital gifts, and then the money then flows first to YY. After YY takes a cut, which is 50%, and then the rest of the money goes to the agency boss. The agency boss then takes 20% of whatever is left, and then the other 80% goes to the live streamer.
That's a lot of money. That is just unimaginable, isn't it?
Yeah, because Chinese people are getting rich now. They like to spend. So even though after the agency boss and the YY platform have taken such big cuts, the live streamer can still become rich.
But in a movie, fans who are making $40 a month, as well as really rich people, right, patron, who say, my life is so bored, I want to spend a lot of money to get attention. They all spend. It doesn't matter how much you have or how little you have.
Yes and no. I mean, everybody spends. It's almost like the 10-90 rule. 10% of YY's heavy users, those big patrons, they spend so much money, they contribute 90% of YY's income or the live streamer's income.
Let's move into something more interesting about the contemporary Chinese culture, online and offline. This is actually a question from one of our team members. How would you describe that in terms of their values and beliefs and lifestyle?
Yeah, I mean, I always found questions like this a little tricky to answer and difficult to answer, because I just feel like I'm a filmmaker. I'm telling a story. And then a lot of times as artists, as storytellers, we focus on the extreme, right? Through the extreme, we try to show some common human condition. At the same time, we're not sociologists. Right. We're not trying to summarize the entire generation, what's it like, or entire society, what's it like. So through the film, there are some themes I hope are universal, which is people's needs for connection, people's needs for recognition. When they are not getting that in real life, they go online trying to get it that way. Obviously, this live streaming platform in People's Republic Desire, it's designed in a way that's so money-focused, that's encouraging everybody to transact their human desires with money, right?
Very transactional.
Everything is transactional. In some ways, yes, I would like to say maybe China is like that. A big part of the society, it is very money-driven. The society is becoming very, very capitalistic. But at the same time, I always remind myself, is that really that different from what's happening here in the U.S.? A lot of what's being portrayed in the film feels very extreme,
right?
Very Chinese. But I guess my hope is that to use those extreme scenarios, try to remind people it's actually not that. Deep down, we are pretty much the same.
What would you say maybe the underlying socioeconomic, emotional, and spiritual problems in China through these people, old and young, rich and poor, coming together online?
Live streaming in China today is being considered an internet phenomenon that mainly attracts people from the lower class in the society. Those migrant workers, those young people in second or third, fourth tier cities where they don't have a lot of social or entertainment options. Yes, there is a lot of sense of alienation, loneliness, hopelessness in terms of social mobility. These people also have come of age with the internet. Sometimes they feel like more comfortable dealing with technology, dealing with human relationships online versus in real life.
Right, that's right.
Secondly, I mean, China the urban alienation problem might be more severe in many other societies because China is going through very rapid urbanization. A lot of young people are moving from the countryside into big cities.
We're talking about hundreds of millions of them, right?
Yeah. I mean, some sociologists say this is the largest sort of migration of human population in the world history. If you consider the hundreds of millions of people are moving into big cities and trying to find jobs, trying to find a better life for their kids. Yeah, it is quite massive. And then in this process, they run into a lot of problems. When they move to big cities, they don't have their own social networks. They don't have friends or families. And a lot of times after a busy day at work, the only thing they have is the internet, especially for young people.
Right. And then in addition to that, you film a scene where the village elders, I think, or uncles, they were having dinner with Big Li, and the idea is 出人头地, be somebody, right?
Yeah.
That is such a big burden on them, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is very Confucian, right? All the Confucian societies have this emphasis on bringing honor to the entire family, making the family proud, and also make money so you can support the entire family. The thing about fame and fortune, even though it may sound like a very foreign capitalistic idea, but I would argue it's ingrained in any Confucian society, except that probably the definition of fame is different, right? In the traditional sense where we want recognition, we want face. You know, another factor you can totally see in this film is how that gets played out, how the young people under tremendous pressure for that recognition, for that money, so they can feel like their life is worthwhile. They can feel like they haven't disappointed their families back home.
I want to get into audience comments on your film. One of our team members said this: I enjoyed the movie because it touched different characters that we could peek into their thought process. They all have the same value. Happiness equals being rich.
Unfortunately, a lot of the characters in People's Republic Desire, they do kind of exemplify that kind of value, which is very money focused. Yeah, I mean, China's going through some big changes in the last 20, 30 years of open reform. For a long time, there was a lot of chaos, a lot of poverty in China. Only in the past 30, 40 years, Chinese people finally got a chance to make money again. And I just feel like there was such a big hunger and rush to make money fast. So that kind of affected the entire society.
Right. They feel as if it's a gamble. It's almost like you got to make it big now or else you're going to miss the boat.
Yes, because it's kind of new, right? I mean, the wealth in China is all new money.
Right.
There's no old money. The old money was destroyed during the Civil War and later during the Cultural Revolution. So, yeah, people are in a hurry to make money fast. And the poor people at the bottom of society, they were promised at the beginning of opening and reform that they would get a chance to become rich as well, just like everybody else. But as the society changes, as the new money becomes somewhat old money, whereas this money class is, educating their kids, buying access for their kids, so they can become the wealthy class in the society. The poor people feel like being left behind, and they feel like there's no hope for them.
Well, your film won the Grand Jury Award at the 2018 South by Southwest and have screened at over 30 film festivals worldwide. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I mean, for the Oscars, it's just qualification. It wasn't like nominated.
And Variety calls the film provocative and unsettling. That's just one quote among many other film reviews. So my question for you is, what do you think is the essence of a film that resonates with film critics and what doesn't resonate with film critics?
I think some film critics completely get what I'm trying to say. Other film critics didn't. Because my film, People's Republic Desire, is not a typical documentary. In in the sense that artistically, I use a lot of animation, special effects to bring out a very dystopian sci-fi feel to the film, to the story, even though it's a real story. Secondly, I was really focused on building a narrative, to engage with the audience. There's a competition. There's an American Idol-like competition as well.
Right.
And I didn't spend that much time really focused on explaining this phenomenon, why it's happening in China, except I kind of want the audience to immerse in experiencing their lives and their struggles online and offline. My intention was to use this as an allegory to kind of remind people what technology can do to young people. So some critics completely got it. They loved the film. But other critics feel like it was a story about reportage about a Chinese internet phenomenon.
Right, because that's what they were looking for, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's why normally what documentaries do is to introduce some unfamiliar cultural phenomenon to the audience, to educate them, right? To enlighten them. But I guess for me, my purpose is different. I want to shock people.
Well, I want to ask you, is this film censored in China?
It's not censored in the sense, censorship in China is a concept that's kind of sometimes can be vague. I mean, there are several film distributors want to take this film.
Oh, they are in China.
Nice. To theaters, but then the censor would not give us the permit. Because live streaming has become so controversial in China.
Yes.
The censors don't want any more exposure to this phenomenon.
What is the one thing that you want your audience in China, once they have access to it, either online or if it gets on big screen, to take away?
My personal expectations are two. One is for those, sort of middle class, upper middle class audience living in big cities. I want them to really fully understand the lower class people, because China has become a class society, and this film in particular, People's Republic Desire, really focus on the extreme wealthy and the extreme poor, right?
But they come together.
Right? But then for the urban middle class, a lot of times they don't fully understand the lower class. They don't fully understand what they're looking for. So I hope they, after watching this film, they'll have a better understanding. And secondly, I also want them to be shocked, because a lot of people in China, they have heard about how you can become rich through live streaming, but they have no clear ideas about the amount of money the live streamers can make.
Right.
And the amount of money the big patrons are spending on these live streamers. So my personal goal is that really to shock the audience, to really push them to think more about what society, China has become, what kind of forces that have brought about live streaming culture phenomena, and what can we do about it.
What can you do? If you haven't seen this documentary, The People's Republic of Desire, check it out. It makes sense if you see their world through their eyes, even if it makes you cringe, cry, or scratch your head going, what's going on? Variety called it provocative and unsettling. San Francisco Chronicle says it's fascinating, sad, and scary. And I'd say it's all of that, plus mind-blowing and heartbreaking. In our next episode of This Chinese Life, part 2 of my conversation with Hao Wu, his life and career in China and America, including an executive job at Alibaba before becoming a filmmaker.
Anybody who make very difficult career choices or life choices, I think it's not because we make these choices. In the end, it's usually those choices chose us.
That's Hao Wu in This Chinese Life, chasing what really matters. That's in 2 weeks. 1 in a Billion is
Brian Latwinowich,
Yvette Yu, Maggie Shi.
And our lovely theme song is composed by Brad McCarthy. Let us know if you want to join our team of volunteers, help us plan events, pitch a story. Just go to our website, oneinaBillionVoices.org, and find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Support for our podcast comes from our collaboration with the Victor and William Fung Foundation.